Hello, good morning, and welcome to this Dawn Busters Taste Challenge. 6:14 a.m. Central Standard Time, January 20th, 2019. We're getting into the blended scotch now for a little while. And what we have is, here at Dawn, is from 1884, not this particular bottle, but the brand, the company, Buchanans Deluxe. Try to get the glare off of it. Buchanans Deluxe, age 12 years. This is a 375 milliliter bottle. Okay. I got that on a special deal. I mean, a real special deal, because I got that bottle and a bottle of gin, both $3.75, but for $12 total. Before tax, after tax, whatever tax, 12. He said, I told the guy, I'll give you 12. And he said, deal. So I took it and I got out of there. All right. We're going up against J&B Rare Brooks. Aged, no age statement. No age statement. Maybe 3 years. I don't know. The minimum is 3. This was introduced around 1933. You say, no, the company's been around since 1749. Yes, the company has been around. Rare Brooks wine merchants. They buy and sell wine in London and have things produced. But this Scotch whiskey blend, if you read the website carefully, Rare Brooks website, it says they decided to make their own house brand of scotch, and it came out just in time for the end of Prohibition. That's what they say. It debuted just in time for the end of Prohibition. Well, that would be about 1933, right? So they don't give a definitive date, but that's what I can find. Now, they've been, okay, so the company has been an official supplier to the royal family of the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland for a long time. Okay, so it's saying, by appointment to Her Majesty the Queen, wine merchants, see, you got to read carefully, Rare Brooks Limited, St. James Street, London, England, and there's the royal warrant. Just like Singa beer is produced under a royal warrant to the Royal Thailand Court. All right. And it tells you right there, by appointment to the throne, to their majesties, King George the Third. Okay. Who died in 1820. Queen, let's see, King George the Fourth. King William the Fourth. I'm going to go in order. Then after he died, there was Queen Victoria. She died in the beginning of the 20th century, 1901. And then her son, Edward VII. Then his son, King George V. And then now down here it says, and to his late, trying to read this in the dark, Royal Highness, the Prince of Wales, 1921 to 1936. They didn't want to put King Edward VIII, 1936. That's a little bit of an embarrassment. Forced off the throne after not even a year, but that's another story. Edward VIII, the infamous Edward VIII. And then his brother, the son of George V, one brother who got thrown out, and then the other brother, George VI, who died in 1952. And then King Edward VIII. And then ex-King Edward, he died in 1972, 20 years later. Okay, well, anyway, and then Queen Elizabeth's still on the throne here now, 67 years later. So, and I do believe Buchanan, is Buchanan's under a royal warrant? No, maybe not. Well, they sure have a fancy embossed bottle. They're both fancy green embossed bottles. Now, okay, so the Justerini and Brooks J&B, that's what everybody calls it because that's the name, right? J&B, they're both 80 proof. Let's see, it's about $22 a bottle. I'll see it around, about $22, 22, 23. I got it on sale for $18.99 in St. Petersburg, Florida. So I had seen on the website ABC Fine Wine and Spirits saved a little money. I was down there anyway. I knew I was going to be there anyway last year, so I just picked it up, saved a little money, and brought it back home. Different shade of green, right? This is an olive green over here. Well, yeah, no, that's because of the liquor in it. This is grass green, and this is more of a forest green, whatever. I'm not a color expert. The Buchanans usually be about $35 a bottle, 34, 35. You might find it on sale for 33. So J&B. You would hope, you would assume, you would expect that the J&B is going to be inferior, right? It's ageless. It's a good $12 to $14 cheaper, $12 to $14 a bottle cheaper. So why would it not lose to Buchanan's? They're both owned by Diageo. Now, if you get on thebar.com, the US link, thebar.com, the US link, here that suction, they got that special pour cap for the Latin American countries because people try to refill it. So it doesn't want to come out too easy. And then it starts just, I have enough for maybe 2 more taste challenges, but more than likely only 1 more taste challenge. So say bye-bye to Buchanan's is going to go away pretty soon. You would figure Buchanan's would win. All right, let's see about the comments on this cold morning. And it's the wind that's so bad, I dread walking. I have to walk 1.5 miles today for to do my routine, but it's gonna be cold. I'm gonna put some gloves on. It's gonna be cold. When that wind started coming in yesterday evening, right around 4 o'clock when I went to mass, and I did go to a new church. For me, the church is built in 1957, but Immaculate Conception of Marrero on 7th Avenue, I think it's called. And yeah, got this eyelash that's in my eye. It was very interesting and big church. Had a lot of people there. So now I have 11 left to go to all of them in New Orleans. Let's see. Be Good says hello. Maxwell, good morning, Ron. Good morning to you over there in Russia. Be Good said, I can't drink alcohol anymore, but I enjoy these videos. I'm sorry about that situation, but that's how it works out sometimes. Could happen to anybody. Could happen to me. It's the way it goes, unfortunately. But I'm glad you like the videos. Okay, well, we can see that the J&B is much lighter in appearance. Sipping a little down just to even it out. I could pour more of the Buchanan's, but then it would short it for the next taste challenge because I'm really that low. I probably really ought to just kill it off, but I would like to see how it does against the Chivas Regal because they're comparable in price. So, and they're both 12-year age. So we'll be curious to see. All right. This one is pale straw, and this one is golden. Now, does the Buchanan's, see, pale straw, golden. Does the Buchanan's have color added? Does the J&B have color added? It is allowed, not under the United States law. Now, it's interesting if you read the Tax and Trade Bureau website. Canadian whiskey and Scotch whiskey and Irish whiskey are not allowed to have coloring added. However, there's one important thing to consider. If you read the regulations carefully, they are imported under the law of Scotland, it says, in the United Kingdom. So even though Scotch is not allowed to have coloring added according to the law of the United States, they're not made in the United States, and they're not imported under the law of the United States. They're imported under the authority and law of the, I think it says on the trade, it doesn't say the United Kingdom, it says the laws of Scotland, which, as we know, is a colony really of the United Kingdom. They had a court ruling recently in England saying that. The Supreme Court of Great Britain of the United Kingdom was saying, well, you're really not a country, you're just a colony. But they didn't use that terminology, but that the result was what that meant. So this guy writing an article was saying they ought to just have independence because they're never going to be free, blah, 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 a bunch of belly aching. Okay, now, so think about that, under the authority of the country it's coming from. So if I go to France, I'm an American citizen, or am I suddenly a French citizen? No, I'm an American in France. So I have to follow the laws of France because I'm a guest there, but I'm still under the authority of the United States, under the jurisdiction thereof. That's why if something happens, they would refer to the consulate, or if I was in Paris, the embassy. See? So just because you come to the United States doesn't make you a citizen or a legal resident here. Okay. And if you have a baby here, that does not make your baby a citizen, because you're not under the authority. You're under the jurisdiction of, if you're from Costa Rica. See, we want to use logic in our lives, not rhetoric, unless the rhetoric is based upon logic. So you've often heard people say that the Constitution, the 14th Amendment, says all people born in the United States are automatically a citizen. So if somebody illegally enters, we talked about this, if an illegal alien enters the country and has the baby's automatically a citizen. You would have to have a child's mentality to believe this, or you'd have to be a scoundrel and know that you're lying. You see, some people know they're lying. They're not dreamers, they're schemers. You understand? Because they manipulate the Constitution. Like they'll end the sentence in the middle of the sentence and not bring up the second clause. I've seen people say that. They'll just read that anyone born in the United States. And I'll say, well, you realize there's a comma there, and under the jurisdiction thereof. If that is meant, that you have to look at the context of that amendment and all of these things. If I go to the Philippines, if you're with your wife in the Philippines and she has a baby, the baby's not a Filipino. The baby's an American that just happened to be born in the Philippines. But see, the people that say all this, they know what they're talking about. They know what they're doing. They know they're manipulating people who don't know the law, don't understand the law. They don't understand the intent of the law, and they don't understand the Constitution. And most Americans have never read the Constitution. And if you quiz people on the street, they don't know what's in it. They really don't. That's enough rant and raving about politics. But it's interesting that most people in a country don't know their own country's laws. They know basic elementary things that may not be too coherent. Because I talk to people on social media and I'll say to myself, this person does not understand what they're talking about. All right. And some people's solution to is to say, I'll block you and I'll unfriend you and block you. That'll show you. Well, that might show me that you can do that. You have that facility. You can do that. That doesn't make you correct in your argument. I had a fellow beer reviewer who jumped into one of our discussions once, started flaming it up. Now, I never really cared for his reviews. I thought there was too much tomfoolery in it and a lot of inappropriate and kind of strange commentary in it. Him and his little friends, some of them weren't little. They were a little drunk in there, but or quite drunk. But as a courtesy, I subscribed to his channel and I watched the videos as much as I didn't enjoy. I mean, he would always comment on my videos, and he wanted to be a Facebook friend. Oh yeah, yeah. I said okay, you know. But then we were talking about the 14th Amendment one day, and he jumped in there, boy, on fire with. I said, oh boy. And he was saying he changed his channel name recently. I noticed for some peculiar reason, but he kept saying, well, I have friends that are gay. I have friends that are gay. I said, what are you talking about? Like, this is not the point of what we're discussing. I said, I was talking about the 14th Amendment. That I tried to tell you, I'm talking about the effect of the 14th Amendment upon certain legal decisions of the Supreme Court. And he just kept saying, but I have friends that are gay. I have friends. You're trying to judge people. And I just kept trying to tell him, we're not talking about the merits, or I told him that we're not discussing the merits or the demerits of homosexual behavior. We're talking about the impact of the 14th Amendment upon legal case law. And then he said it a third time. I have friends that are gay. I said, let's try to make it simple. So I said, let's break it down simply. And I was going to explain it in more of an elementary way. And that's when he said, I'm done. And he blocked me and never watched another video. And I was glad in a way. That way I said, well, now I don't have to have a courtesy and watch his videos, which I never could really stand anyway. But I mean, it was comical to me that you jumped into the swimming pool, but you didn't tell anybody that you couldn't stand water. Well, no one made you jump into the pool. Or you want to set fires, but you can't take heat. This is so comical in the world of social media. You go around starting fires, but you can't take heat. This is very strange. What's up? Good morning, says Hayes. Hey, Hayes. Craig Swenson said, I like that you compare products side by side like this. I finish a bottle, then purchase another, so I can only go in memory of how they compare. Right, and that's a problem. I do the same thing, you know. I do the same thing. But you really want to do a blind side by side. Check out Diamond Beer Reviews. Diamond Dave. Oh yeah, I've been watching him for so long. Oh yeah, I mean, I've watched him so long. Very, very familiar with him. He's very nice to me, and he can have a discussion in an intelligent manner. In other words, he can grasp concepts. You talking about that black guy you had on the group stream? I don't know who. No, this is not a black man I'm talking about. Although I did have one guy that wanted to be my Facebook friend who does beer reviews, and he happens to be a black man, and he wanted to be friends on Facebook. And I told him, I said, I don't know, because I might post things that you don't like. There could be some political posts that you may not be able to handle, basically what I said. And he told me, no, it's me you have to worry about. I'm the firebrand. It's me you have to worry about. And I was telling him, I can guarantee you that's not the case. That's not going to bother me, okay? I said, it's me you need to worry about. But I said, but we'll go ahead and set up, and you could be my friend and join my groups. And this will be, and it was very pleasant for a while. But then, of course, one day I said, I noticed you're not my Facebook friend anymore. Oh yeah, you said some stuff that I didn't like. I said, didn't I warn you a year ago that was going to happen? That exactly what just happened, I was trying to warn you about. But you said, oh no, you're a tough guy, you can handle it. But then, of course, you weren't, and you couldn't. And even though I predicted that, all right. I can't look at these because the shades are too different, so it'll throw it off. I'll be able to tell just by glancing. This one's smoky, but not too smoky, and it's got peat, but it isn't heavy peat. It's a peaty realm, let's call it. Now, didn't J&B say they use Speyside? That's the backbone of their flavoring and aroma. The Speyside single malt. I think that's what they say on J&B. I don't recall Buchanan giving a specific what single malts they use. But as you can imagine, it's a huge, complex combination of column still grain alcohol or grain whiskey, and then the single malts. J&B uses 42 different whiskeys. 42 is probably 30 column stilled whiskeys and 12, I'm just guessing, 12 single grain copper pot still more expensive with whiskeys. And the Buchanans, I don't know what it is. They don't say. So this one's very mild, pleasant. You can pick up the grain alcohol and the under aroma. But there's a strong peat. There's a little fruit, and the J&B did talk about fruitiness, so that could be a tip off. Hayes says strong aroma. Okay, let's go back to some comments. People are touchy and ignorant. Yes, that's true. Especially touchy. You know, ignorant is okay because you can cure ignorance by learning, right? But the touchy part is a real problem. I'm a Kentucky boy, but love those Saints. What are your political views, Ronald? Be specific, says Porgy Scorgy. Oh, they're could be described as paleo-conservative, like the old Democratic Party up until 1892. Let's call it that. Look up, study the ideology of Grover Cleveland, the only guy who was president 2 different times, and you'll get a good idea. Strong aroma of whiskey. Yeah, right. I bet it tastes like whiskey too. Right. Okay, Hayes. We're not going to. Why would he not like your political posts? Well, he's very left-wing, you know, and you know how that goes. They're angry about stuff and it gets set off. But I mean, when I warn somebody, if I warn you, you know, don't come back talking about, oh, I can't believe it. Well, I told you ahead of time what you were going to encounter. What do you think about Donald Trump? Oh, I think he uses a lot of Jedi mind tricks on people. And they don't realize that he's using Jedi mind tricks on them. Okay, this one's smokier here. It's a deeper smoke, but the peatiness is not as pronounced as the one on my left, or could be your right. Oh yeah, much more smoky and rich in the nose. So this must be Buchanan's. This has got to be Buchanan's. I think from memory, this has got to be the Buchanan's, which has a rich, smoky, and almost like a luxurious, almost a savory nose. Well, why wouldn't it be richer and more complex? It costs $14 more a bottle. When you pay that kind of money relative to the other one, you want it to be better. Okay, J&B. Yeah, much more basic and simple. And the grain, as it breathes, the grain alcohol starting to come out more. Uh-oh. Well, yeah. But it still has that peat, that mushy, almost like swampy marshland, you know, in England and Scotland, that out in the moors, you know, the hounds of the Baskerville. It's got, but you know what I'm saying? It even almost has a salt water aroma. You've got to realize no part of the island of Great Britain is more than 70 miles from the ocean. The furthest point on that island from the ocean is only 70 miles. I mean, the United States and Cuba are 90 miles apart, and that's no kind of distance in a boat, a motorboat. So 70 miles, you basically can say everyone in Great Britain lives on the coast. So you're going to have those maritime, let's call it, properties with these products. And here, where I live, we're right by the coast. Now, people will say New Orleans is 100 miles from the mouth of the river. If you look at it by the river pathway, it's 100 miles from the mouth of the river. But New Orleans is not 100 miles from the Gulf of Mexico. New Orleans is practically hugging the Gulf of Mexico if you look at a map, do a map study. Okay, you can drive to some parts of the city of New Orleans that are on the coast, which is why they flooded so bad when the hurricane hit in 2005, because the water just washed right in from the Gulf into the city. There's no way to stop it. Okay. Now we need to start tasting it. Almost like, okay. Darth Trumpet. I am the guy you're voting for. I don't know what y'all are talking about. I'm the one tasting whiskey, but I think they've been the ones drinking it. Okay. Mm. My friend David with the big beard, he says, you gulp it too fast. You take too many big gulps of whiskey. I think that's true. And I have to work on that. Now, yeah, that tastes like J&B, and the grain whiskey is really coming into play now. It's probably 80% grain alcohol or grain whiskey. I'm not saying it's bad. You can get, I just finished the American blended whiskey exercise, which took me, what, 2 weeks? And they always develop that way in the flavor. It's the same story. The grain alcohol starts to shine through. The undertaste comes in strong. Not so much on the Seagram 7 Crown, which is why it always wins. Okay. All right. Mind trick. You mentioned Hounds of the Baskervilles. I love that movie starring Christopher Lee and Peter Cushing, says Craig. Yeah. Yep. That's an old classic. All right. Mmm. Oh, well, the smoke level on this one on my right, could be your left, is so much more intricate and profound and predominant, and a little bit of heat, a little bit, but that's the heavy smoke. You almost start to even think that it's a smoked pork experience. Smoked pork, like those Roch beers, you know, like Axlinkerla, Roch beer, the various ones they have. They'll start to taste and smell and taste like smoked pork, which of course they don't use anything like that. Now, does the Buchanan's have an underlying grain alcohol body if you think on it while you drink on it? Yes, it does. Sometimes you need to think these more than you drink these. These whiskeys have to be thought through, not just drunk through. It's like the Stevie Nicks song, The Blue Lamp from 1981. Remember her lyrics. Don't listen to her, listen through her. Right? Don't listen to her, listen through her. And you don't want to listen to this whiskey, you want to listen through it. It has to be, you say, oh, it's not metaphysical like that. Tasting these things is not an esoteric thing, a practice. I didn't say it was necessarily, but you have to, it has to be an experiential approach. That doesn't happen too much on YouTube. You will see it. A lot of that stuff that I watch, and I watch it incessantly, as you probably know by looking at my endless comments on people's pages. A lot of it is more focused on, hey guys, what's up? Hey YouTube, and buy my t-shirt, and let's look at this product, guys. You know, hey, look at all my graphics. Boy, you know, hey, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and check out my Twitter feed. And I'm like, well, I would prefer if they spent more time focusing on the product than all the hype aspects of it and all that kind of what I call fake folksy approach. You know what I mean? Fake folksy. Like, let's be friends and hang out, guys. And they don't want to eat, they don't want to be friends, and they sure don't want to hang out. But I got sucked into that early on because I didn't understand social media, and I didn't understand the phoniness of it, because I thought these people really did want to talk about whiskey and beer and wine and hang out and talk about things and be friends. And I'm kind of innocent in that way, like a puppy dog. And I just, if I watch anybody's videos, I'm saying, oh, let's be friends, let's hang out, let's talk. But then they'll say, oh no, who are you? You know, this is a channel I'm trying to build. I don't have time for your claptrap. And it took me a while to deal with that and understand it. And I got my feelings hurt a lot because I always just thought it was supposed to be like this big community of people that loved talking about products like I did. But I didn't understand that there's a very dark side to it, a bad, insidious side. And I couldn't, I had trouble dealing with it, or understanding it, or working with it. But I have gotten to meet a lot of nice people, you see, that aren't insidious. I mean, they're irritating, some of them, because like to call you at 2 in the morning to tell you where you can buy a wine, you know, that's like the television show Too Close for Comfort. You know what I mean? It's like, you don't really need to call me at 2 in the morning to tell me where I can buy a wine. That didn't happen to me. That happened to one of my beer friends. He was enraged. I said, yeah, some people have no comportment. They don't know how to interact with other people. It's like you could just send somebody a message on Facebook the next day because you're part of a chat. You don't have to. Okay, let's see the comments. Was that a Sherlock Holmes story? Yes, it was. That's right. Ronald, you are venting. Hayes, I'm always venting. All right. Ronald, you are so right, says Carnagus Thornbuckler. Be Good says, come to the dark side. No, I'm trying to do a positive energy projection on Facebook and Google Plus and the internet. Love Ronald rant and raves. Craig said, I love Ronald's rant and raves. No, I would rather do a positive energy projection because there's enough evil in the world, and darkness hates light, right? Darkness hates light. So there are people that have a lot of anger and resentment, personal animosity, and so you run, and they do beer reviews. Well, some of them sell shoes. Some of them work in a corporate office. Some work at a school cafeteria, right? You run across people like this all the time with this animosity and anger. When I was teaching high school, I didn't really run across that so much. We really did operate as like a team. Like we're a team of teachers, and we're like a fraternity, and we hang out and work together. Now, some of the younger generation teachers were different. We noticed a very dark element there. They were coming into that Teach for America program, which is sort of an insidious program when you study it. And there was a lot less team mentality with them, selfish and real, a very grim outlook on life. And the way they did the students was not good. But I think they got rid of that whole group from this parish. They said, we don't want them coming in here anymore, bringing all their dark energy, you know. Let them go to Havana, Cuba. They kick them out in one day over there, though. They go to Havana talking about power to the people, right on, brother. They say, get them out of here. Okay. It's 5 o'clock somewhere. It says Brian Rojo. Yeah, it is. It's 6:49 here. All right. Well, I think this is the J&B, and I think this is the Buchanans. It's too obvious. I mean, I can rant and rave about, oh, this guy on the internet did this and this, but the cut and dry of it is that the Buchanans is better than the J&B. Oh, we had some fun at the hot rod shop last night, and I shocked them to the core when I walked in there with what I had. You want to see what I brought? They couldn't believe it. Well, David couldn't believe it. The other guy who runs it was saying, oh, that's interesting. But David was like, oh, no, Excuse jaw drop. Evil can get on that train and leave us all in peace. Yeah, it's 4:50 a.m. here in Washington State. I wish Evil would get on that train and leave, but no, it's hangs around, you know, because it wants company. You get it? Evil wants company. That's the whole theme of the Bible. The fallen angels and their leader, the devil, wants company. Misery wants company. So you say, well, they should just be happy to go to hell, into the lake of fire forever and just mind their own business, leave people alone. No, 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 no. Doesn't work like that. They want to drag as many down with them, you know, like the tail. You see that, you see the tail pulling the stars in the paintings. 1/3 of the stars too. Oh yeah, I might need to check and see which is which though, right? Okay, one last sip. Hey, hey, hey. All right, so J&B, babies. Yep, J&B, there it is. I don't know if you can see that, J&B. Just, it's so light. Glad I didn't look. Is J&B a good scotch? Yeah, it's all right. It's very similar to the Dewar's White Label. Same price. Mathern says Dewar's on sale right now, $19.99. Because it's basic, you know, the Dewar's White Label's basic and the J&B's basic, and they cost about the same price, and they're probably aged 3 years. They don't give an age statement. And they're predominantly grain alcohol. Like, here's what I don't understand. Like, somebody could drink this J&B and say, oh man, that's my jam. I drink J&B, that's my jam. Okay. But then they'll turn around and say, oh, how can you drink those American blended whiskeys? That's garbage. That's garbage. It's like, well, I don't know what you're talking about, because it's the same principle. Drink a bunch of those American blended whiskeys and you can start saying, oh, I'm just sitting here drinking grain alcohol predominantly. Yeah, that's right. And then you drink this and you say, oh, I'm just sitting here drinking grain alcohol predominantly. Yeah, right, right. Except this is using about 20% single malt Scotch whiskeys blended together. And so you're going to get the smoky aspect, all right, blah, blah, blah. If you do the American blended whiskeys, okay, you got about 20% straight bourbon. And so you're going to get some bourbon aspects, blah, 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 blah. And then Canadian whiskey, and then how that works. We're not going to get into all of that. All right, so no surprise here. Buchanan's wins easily, very easily. Hi there, guys, joining in for the first time, says Tasty Tales. Well, welcome to you, Tasty Tales. Thanks for watching. We appreciate you watching this video production. Got 14 people watching here. You notice I'm wearing the some NFL licensed gear, you know what I mean? Because you know what game's coming on today. All right. Now, we're about to wrap this up. Hayes, a lot of people like to judge American products in general, thinking they are bad, but in reality, they are extremely good and beat most in taste tests. I don't know about that because I never really did that approach of say, let me take American stuff and compare it around the world to other things. But I believe it. America, you know, it's easy to, people like to beat up on American products. Oh, American products are no good. It's the imports are so much better. You know, like with cars, you know, oh, you don't want an American vehicle. The Japanese stuff's way better, you know, the German stuff's way better. Is it though, really? You know, so people judge too easily. I general, you mean in general. Usually it's about prejudice in general. Yeah, prejudice is so common in the human mind. Okay, last question for you viewers. And you tell me yay or nay. Then I got to go deal with that dreary, windy, cloudy, cold weather and walk. Oh, it's going to be so, I'm just trying to delay the inevitable. That's really probably the reason for the rant and rave, trying to avoid going out in the cold. You know what I mean? Trying to avoid the reality. You want to see what I picked up yesterday? Anybody want to see what I picked up yesterday for such an incredible price at an incredible store, which I had seen and never stopped? And I finally stopped yesterday afternoon. You want to see? I'll give you 30 seconds to decide, and then we'll shut it down if nobody wants to see what I picked up. Even the glass, Craig says yes. Even the glass is smoky. Toby Cadenhead. Hey, Toby Cadenhead. He says yes. Look, the residual in the glass is just smoke. Now, see, that's a sign of a good scotch because there's nothing left, but it's still got this residual. Just the fumes, basically. Yep, that's Buchanan's 12-year. Wow. Now, let's see what the residual is for this. Oh, wait, there's a little liquid. Hold on. Okay. Yeah, it's like grain alcohol. Not bad, but it doesn't have that rich love smell in the glass the next morning. Oh, this stuff here, boy. Okay, I'll be right back, but I have to step into the next room, which is the kitchen, okay? Well, I have to go through a little room and get to the kitchen, but it's right there. So hold on, you'll see. Hold on. Hold on. All right, now, all right, I'm back. Nap before the big game today, says Roscoe. Oh, yeah. I'm going to take a nap. I woke up at 3:48 this morning, though. I was laying in bed for 30 minutes, dude, saying I'm going to try to sleep, but I couldn't. I was just laying there. I said, let me get up. All right. So I went to Walmart, and they had this. The Jim Beam Repeal Batch. It's non-chill filtered Jim Beam. So it's Jim Beam. It's just 4-year-old Jim Beam, but it's not filtered. Looks pretty clear to me, though. It's no longer, they don't list it on the website. Get on the Jim Beam website, get on Beam Centauri. They don't list this. They don't show it. I looked it up, no results. I was like, what? Guess it's discontinued. I don't know what the story is with this stuff. It came out in September 2018. They announced September 2018. But you know how much I bought it for? Walmart sold this bottle for $12.47. $12.47. Well, I couldn't get over that. Couldn't get over that one. Put it up here on top of these comic book boxes. Okay, so I went to this store, Discount Depot. It's like a convenience store, but it's been turned into this huge liquor emporium. Beer. Well, I didn't find their beer prices were too impressive. Just average, like no better than other stores, the beer. So, I didn't buy any beer there. I mean, they had a lot of it, but I didn't see where the prices were good. But their draw was the wine and especially the liquor. There were people driving in there. This is on US Highway 90, business route 90, big major highway, stretches across the Gulf Coast of the United States, all the way to the beginning of the Rocky Mountains in Texas. That's where it ends. It's where it's always ended. But anyway, so big, busy, expressway. So I'm over there on the ground level, and I see this Discount Depot. Well, I missed it, and it was too much traffic, so I had to go around and through the neighborhood and come back around. And I went in there, and I said, wow, look at this stuff. And the lady said, can I help you? I said, I'm just looking at what you have. And she said, we got a lot of stuff. Boy, that's for sure. But it was a lot of stuff I've seen other places, but the prices were pretty impressive. So I'm looking, I said, whoa, man, look at all this, like an adventure land, But I said, nah, I don't really see anything that is like you can't pass it up. But I said one day I could come back in here and buy some stuff, but it's really something. So I was turning around, pivoting around to leave because I wanted to go to the hot rod shop where we recorded some videos, which will be posted coming up. And we were eating some of that sausage that they had smoked. But it caught my eye, and I said, "Ooh!" It's like in this little niche area. I said, "Whoa!" And they had a price $8.99. I said, $8.99. It was Dickel Tennessee Sour Mash whiskey, and it's called Cascade Hollow. I never saw this. Now, John and Neil, when I went to his house last year, he had a red label, but it was the Tabasco version. It was like the Tabasco liqueur, which I didn't care for too much. He liked it, but I didn't really like it. I like Tabasco. I like whiskey. Mixed, didn't seem to work. But this, I said, what is Cascade Hollow? I never saw this before. I said, oh, baby. And it was kind of dusty on the top. I said, it must have been sitting there for a while. But they had about 14 bottles. I said, $8.99? Like a special, $8.99. This is a liter, 1 liter, not a 750 like you normally see. I said, 1 liter for $8.99? I said, my friend David's going to flip when he sees this. So I bought 2. I bought 1 for me and 1 for him because he told me at the hot rod shop, you should have bought 2 bottles. I said, I did. 1 for me and 1 for you. So I told him, I said, come to my truck. You got. He said, why you want me to come to the truck? I'm already here. I said, just come to the truck. I want to show you something. So he walks out there and I pulled the bottle out and I said, look. He said, whoa, you know, he couldn't believe it. So, of course, he insisted that we do a video. We got to do this. And then the guy that owns the hot rod shop, he never wants to be in the videos, but he said, try this. And the guy tried it, and he was like very happy with it, very pleased. So that was one thing, right? So then right next to this, I'm looking and I said, whoa, another liter bottle, a liter. I said, what's wrong, baby? Castillo Gold. Puerto Rican rum, 40 proof, 40% alcohol. I said, Castillo Gold, $7.99, people, $7.99 for a liter. I said, well, it could be the worst product on earth. Might taste terrible, but for that price, like the guy at the hot rod shop, Kevin said, well, yeah, but it's $7.99. So what have you lost? Right. But I have a feeling that's not going to be a loss. I have a feeling it's going to taste all right. There's the seal of approval. Whatever. I got to research this. Distilled by Ron de Castillo y Silla, Catano, Puerto Rico. So a company called Castillo y Silla. The rum of Castillo and Silla, right? I can read Spanish. The rum of Castillo and Silla, whoever that is. Probably some old company. 1 part Castillo. Oh, then they got a recipe right on the back. Very convenient recipe. 1 part Castillo Gold, 3 parts cola, pour over ice in a tall glass, garnish with a lime wedge. Oh, nice. 300. Now this is what I can't get over. This is not some old bottle. This is the 351st day of 2018. This was just made. And they got a 1-800 number. Call this number. Oh no. And then they had a Castillo White, the white rum. Same price, $7.99. I mean, I might have to go back for that. I was so shocked. Couldn't get over that one, baby. Couldn't get over that one, baby. Okay, let's see what they say, and then we close this down. They're talking about strong vanilla. Oh, wait, here they're talking about, oh, boy. I haven't been to Walmart in ages. Wow. Well, we got one. It's half a mile from me. So, I mean, they have a liquor department that's full of liquor, and the prices are so cheap. Joseph Pessimato says, morning, Ron. I'm hoping for a Patriots Saints Super Bowl. Yes, me too. And that's what I predicted back in June of 2018. I predicted Saints beating Patriots in the Super Bowl. True story. I got it written down. I wouldn't lie. Awesome. Dang, says Toby Cadehead. Dang. Tasty Tale says, love a good bourbon. But in general, bourbon is not very popular here in Europe. Yeah, I've noticed that the Europeans don't regard it too highly. I had some people comment and making some other people angry talking about that. I'm sipping on some Barton Light rum. Ah, yes, Barton, big, huge company. Laugh out loud. It's begging to be mixed with the Captain Morgan Rum Runner mix I have in the fridge. Ha ha. Captain Morgan private stock is really good, says Hayes. Also, the Kraken is pretty decent. They both taste similar, strong vanilla. And Tasty Tail says, thanks for the tips, Hayes. He says, yeah, Captain Private Stock is my go-to rum. It's pretty cheap and still a good sipper, nice in the daiquiris. I'd say the same for Kraken, if you're a fan of dark daiquiris, that is. And then Tasty Tail says he likes all good liquor, smiley face. And then Toby says, wow, I can't wait for those reviews. I can't wait for them either. I'd like to review them now, but I have to pace myself. I can't just, I can't do, I want to try everything. I want to try everything right now. I can't, but I want to, it's not tasty. You can always use it as windshield wiper fluid, right? But it'll taste good. The only rum I dislike is Kraken Black Spice Rum. I never had a spice rum. I like burgers and bourbon. Toby says Saints, Kansas and Saints. Oh, he means Kansas City and the Saints. Well, that's a possibility, of course. Be the first time Kansas City's been to the Super Bowl since 1969 season, January 1970, if you remember. Okay, well, this was a very fun hangout and a very informative hangout and a very, I would say, instructive hangout but not a surprising hangout, because I thought that the Buchanans would waylay the J&B, and it certainly did. Now, what's coming up next in 2 days? Well, I have the J&B lined up against Cutty Sark. That's going to be a closer contest because Cutty Sark is kind of bland, and you can pick up a lot of grain alcohol with it. Kind of like the J&B. Cutty Sark is a good $7 cheaper, though. So if it's a tie, right? If it's a tie, then it's not a tie because the $13 Scotch whiskey is going to win over the $22 Scotch whiskey if they taste the same. And that's a $9 difference, isn't it? So if we're talking about a $7 to $9 price difference, then the more expensive Scotch whiskey or blended American or bourbon, whatever you're talking about, has got to come out far ahead. If it doesn't come out far ahead, then you go with the cheaper product. The way I see it, I don't pay $7 more for a product that's marginally better, if at all better. Is the Buchanan a good deal better than the J&B? Yes, it is. So you're paying $12 more a bottle, but you're getting $12 more value. But with Cutty Sark and J&B, I'm not too sure if that $7 difference is going to get made up in the flavor. I think it's going to be more like a $2 difference in quality, which would mean that you'd have to go with the Cutty Sark. But that will be, we will find out in the tasting. We don't know until we taste it, right? Although mentally, cognitively, I'm thinking that the contest is already determined, but that's why we do a blind taste test. So we don't know. And then I've got a whole bunch of others lined up. 100 Pipers. Now 100 Pipers is going to be a real fly in the ointment because it's $8.99 a bottle sometimes. But I got a funny feeling that the 100 Pipers is going to perform way better than this price point. We've got Piper Dean. Well, it's cheap and it tastes cheap. That's just in there just to be in play because I own it. I wouldn't recommend that unless you really just want to save a lot of money. But blind, got to do blind. Let's see what else. You'll see. It's a whole lot of exciting stuff. So thanks for watching this video production. I've already posted a whiskey review, the Barton 1792 that we recorded at my friend David's house. It's like a frenzy, just recording and reviewing and recording and reviewing and recording and reviewing. It's just like, it doesn't stop. It's like a big frenzy. Well, that's okay. We're having a good time with it, so I don't see where that matters. But I'd be drinking it anyway, so may as well record it. Okay, thanks for watching this video production.